Scene 1. The schoolyard. Expanded to approximately 800 words. The schoolyard was alive with the midday clamor of children freed from the confines of their classrooms. Laughter and shouting filled the air, a basketball thudded rhythmically against the court, and a gust of wind carried the scent of autumn leaves across the grounds. Somewhere near the swings, a jump rope slapped against pavement to the chant of a rhyme. Ellie Mae sat beneath the sprawling old oak tree that stood like a sentinel at the edge of the field. Its leaves were just starting to turn, golden at the edges, casting dancing shadows over the grass below. She sat cross-legged, her elbows resting on her knees, a worn paperback of Charlotte's Web open in her lap. Her boots were scuffed and dusty from that morning's chores, her jeans had a hole in one knee, and two loose braids hung over her shoulders, bits of hay still clinging to them from when she'd fed the goats before school. Most kids didn't talk to her much. Ellie didn't mind. She liked quiet. She liked books. And she especially liked animals more than people. People were unpredictable. Animals didn't lie. That day, 3 boys broke from a group near the basketball court. 5th graders, loud and rowdy, they were still new to the school, city kids whose families had moved out here for the peace and safety of small-town life. The leader of the pack, a lanky boy named Trevor, had already been in trouble twice for pushing kids in the lunch line. They spotted Ellie and exchanged grins like wolves who'd spotted a lamb that had strayed too far. Trevor nudged the others and nodded toward her. "Look at her," he sneered. "What is she, homeless? Or maybe she lives in a barn," said the second boy, Jared, snickering. The third one, Lucas, grinned wide. "I heard she brings eggs in her backpack. Like a chicken girl or something." They approached her slowly, swagger in every step. Ellie looked up once, saw them coming, and quickly returned to her book, pretending she hadn't noticed. Her fingers tightened around the edges of the pages. Trevor stopped a few feet in front of her. "Hey, farm freak," he said, loud enough for kids nearby to hear. "You reading that to your cows later?" Ellie didn't look up. "I'm reading," she said quietly. "Please leave me alone." Jared leaned down and grabbed the book from her lap. "You don't tell us what to do, hey girl." He held the book up and waved it in front of her face. Ellie stood up, dusting herself off. Her voice stayed calm. "That's mine. Give it back." Lucas laughed. "You gonna cry to your pigs about it?" Trevor stepped forward suddenly and shoved her shoulder. It wasn't hard enough to knock her down, just enough to make her stumble a bit. He liked to test reactions before going further. Ellie straightened her spine. "I don't want trouble." Trevor smirked. "Then you shouldn't look like one." She lunged forward and reached for her book, still in Jared's hands. He jerked it back. There was a sharp rip as the cover tore. Ellie froze, eyes wide. "You ripped it," she said. "Oops," Jared mocked, grinning. Anger flashed in Ellie's eyes then. Not fear, not tears, just a pure, simple kind of rage that came from having very few things, and watching someone ruin one of the ones that mattered. She snatched at the book again, too fast. Trevor grabbed her by the arm and yanked her back, spinning her around. "You don't touch us, barn rat," he growled. Then it happened in an instant. He gave her one final shove, and her boots slipped on the worn patch of dirt beneath the oak tree. Ellie stumbled back, tried to catch herself, but her heel caught on a tree root. Her head hit the cold steel pole of the swing set behind her with a dull clang. Everything froze. Ellie dropped to the ground, a small gasp escaping her lips before her body crumpled like a sack of feed. A group of nearby kids turned, wide-eyed and suddenly silent. "Holy crap," Lucas whispered. Trevor took a step back. "She's fine," he muttered, voice shaking. "She's not moving," Jared said. "Dude, what if she's fine?" Trevor barked, louder, panicking now. It wasn't that hard. A teacher's whistle blew across the field, far away, but drawing closer. The boys looked at each other once more, then bolted, running fast toward the far fence and slipping around the corner of the building. Behind them, Ellie lay still, one braid splayed across her face, her book torn and forgotten beside her. The wind rustled the leaves above, but she didn't move. And far off in the distance, the blacktop of the parking lot shimmered under the sun, waiting for the arrival of someone who wouldn't be so quick to run. Scene 1 end. Scene 2. The arrival. Expanded to approximately 800 words. The call came in just after noon. Kendra Mae Harper had been mending a fence at the far end of her property when her phone buzzed in the chest pocket of her flannel shirt. The screen read Waterside Elementary. For a moment, she thought maybe Ellie had forgotten her lunch again. But the voice on the other end wasn't casual. It was clipped, nervous. "This is Nurse Jensen from the school. Ellie had a fall. She hit her head. She's awake now, but she asked for you." That was all she needed to hear. Kendra dropped her hammer, whistled for the dog to stay, and jogged to the pickup. Dust swirled behind her as she tore down the gravel drive, past the chicken coop, the rows of feed troughs, the fields still waiting to be plowed before the first frost. Inside the truck, she didn't speak. Just clenched the steering wheel tighter every time her mind returned to the word, fall. 15 minutes later, the truck screeched into the school parking lot, drawing glances from teachers on duty and a few parents waiting to pick up early. It was a black Ford F-250, coated in road dust and farm grime. When the engine shut off, silence followed like a held breath. The driver's door slammed. Kendra stepped out in boots caked with dried mud and a long oilskin coat still spattered from this morning's rain. Her braid hung tight down her back. Her posture was rigid, every movement efficient. She moved like someone trained not to waste a second. The front office doors flew open as Principal Hayes emerged, his smile nervous and too wide. "Mrs. Harper, thank you for coming. We were just about to. Where's my daughter?" Her voice cut through the air like a blade. Not angry, not panicked, just direct, unblinking. "Of course, right this way. She's in the nurse's office, being looked after." They walked fast, Kendra's boots thudding against the tile floor, her coat swaying behind her. Teachers and aides along the hallway stopped what they were doing as she passed, caught off guard by the storm that had just walked into their calm little school. Inside the nurse's office, Ellie sat on the cot, her legs dangling over the side. There was a bandage above her right eyebrow and a faint bruise already blooming on her temple. Her torn book sat beside her, its cover hanging by threads. She looked up as her mother entered, and her lip quivered for the first time since it happened. "Mama." Kendra was at her side in 2 steps, kneeling in front of her. "Hey now," she whispered, gently brushing Ellie's hair back. "You're okay. I've got you." Ellie clung to her, small hands gripping the front of her coat. Her voice was muffled against Kendra's shoulder. "They broke my book." Kendra's jaw tightened. She held her daughter a moment longer, then pulled back and looked her over, checking the bandage, tilting Ellie's chin to get a better look at her eyes. The soldier in her took over for just a heartbeat. She saw the signs, the swelling, the shock, the way Ellie kept her hands in her lap like she'd done something wrong. "She needs to be checked by someone more qualified," Kendra said, turning to the nurse. "Urgent care. Head injuries don't play around." "Yes, of course," the nurse replied quickly. "She's alert and oriented, but we agree, it's better to be safe." Kendra nodded once, stood up, and faced the principal. Her voice was quieter now, but colder. "Who did this?" Principal Hayes raised his hand slightly. "We're still investigating. Ellie hasn't given any names, and there were no adults nearby when it happened. Playground incidents can be tricky." Kendra stepped forward, not aggressively, just enough to make him feel how tall she was, how broad her shoulders, how steady her stare. "She doesn't have to give names," she said. "You have cameras. You have kids who saw. If you're telling me an 8-year-old girl can get her head slammed into a pole and no one knows who did it, then this school has bigger problems than bullies." "Ma'am, I assure you, we're taking this seriously." "I'm not, ma'am," she interrupted, her voice suddenly sharp. "I'm Staff Sergeant Kendra May Harper. U.S. Army, retired. I've done tours in places where kids got hurt a whole lot worse than this. And I know what happens when adults look the other way." The room went still. The nurse paused mid-step. Even Ellie looked up. "I train war dogs," Kendra continued. "I build fences that hold back 1,000-pound bulls. I'm not some suburban mom who'll file a complaint and wait 3 weeks for an answer. I'm the kind who handles problems. Now tell me, do you want me to handle this, or do you want to?" Principal Hayes swallowed hard. We'll handle it. Immediately. I promise." "Good." She turned back to Ellie, scooped up the ruined book, and helped her down from the cot. "We'll be back after she's checked out. I expect answers by then." She guided Ellie out, one hand gently on her back. The hallway was quiet now. No kids peeking around corners. No chatter. Just silence and the sound of boots on linoleum. By the next morning, 3 fifth-grade boys were suspended. A school-wide assembly was scheduled on bullying. And when Ellie returned, a brand-new hardcover of Charlotte's Web sat on her desk, with a note that simply read, "Greater than, sorry we didn't protect you. We will now." Ellie smiled at it. Kendra didn't, because she knew kids would always test boundaries. But now they all knew, Ellie Mae Harper had a mother who'd fought wars, and still hadn't run out of fight. Scene 2 end.